All right. That looks like it's going. Okay. Well, my name is Luke. I'm an art teacher in Texas, and I thought I might help people learn how to paint a little bit. And I thought I'd start today with just some simple little design. Hopefully, get my computer thing going better. Better. Alright, so I do landscapes. There goes some of my work. And I guess ain't nothing to it but to do it. So we'll just go ahead and jump in. Alright, so first things first. When you're talking about a sky, you need to figure out what kind of sky do you want. So, sunsets, regular blue sky, cloudy sky. All are great options. You can honestly work with any color pretty much and have it turn out great. If you're doing a blue sky that has like the sun's not in it, it's you can kind of start wherever you want. I usually start with the sky because it's further back, and I like to work from like the background to the foreground. If you don't know, that's just the furthest part away of the painting and the closest part. So if you start at the furthest away, it's easier to edit and correct mistakes as you go along because you don't have to go and paint around something that you did down here that's really detailed and beautiful if it's one of the last things you do. Save the details and stuff for the last steps anyways. Alright, do I have any yellow to play around with? I do. Now, I'm not going to recommend any specific colors or anything like that because to be perfectly honest, if you got the basics, you know, red, yellow, blue, black, white, you can pretty much make all the rest of them. So I'm of the opinion it is kind of fun just to experiment and figure out what works. Alright, so I'm going to do a sunset. When I do a sunset, I almost always start where I want the horizon to be. Horizon is the furthest part in your painting. And since I just said I like to work from the background to the foreground, if I start with the horizon, there's no other part of the sky and land in this that's going to be any further. Alright, so I got a nice little bright spot going. This is roughly where I'm going to say my sun is setting. So I just threw some yellow down, and now I'm going in with a little bit of white. And what I'm doing is I'm building from that center out. A bit of white again, that center. Work your way out. And what this is going to do, light down just a pinch. What it's going to do is brighten that spot up so as you work further down, my camera just fell. Technical problems. So anyways, as you work out from there, you'll see that, get some of this orange. What was I say? You'll see that that bright spot really is going to emphasize where the sun is going to end up being. So I'm going to stay. Little trick I like to use. I'm using acrylic paint right now. Just a touch of water to help thin it out some. I'm going to come in here with a nice little orange right through here. And so you just want to use a tiny touch when you're thinning out your acrylic. So I'll put like just the corner in to soften it up. But you're going to do the same thing that you did with your white paint. You're going to work, hopefully, to the outside. You can see some of these are starting to encroach in there, but it's okay. A lot of people get so focused on having everything absolutely perfect that they don't seem to remember in the end. Some of those little things you worry about often aren't even noticeable or present by the time you get to the end of your painting process. So, I'm just taking some orange and some yellow. I'm just mixing up these two. It looks like there's some other color mixed in there. Dip my corner, my brush, and my paint. And let's see if we can thin this out some. But all I'm doing is just working this sky color through. Let's get a touch of red and maybe some blue. As you get further to the corners, technically the sky is further away, so you might want to start darkening those in a little bit. Look at all those colors coming together. Oh yeah. We got a nice rich sky coming in. Ooh, big old streak of blue there. And all these really interesting, fun colors. A lot of depth and variety. And that's the fun thing about, like, for instance, sunsets and all that. You're gonna see just about every single color you could imagine. And I'm of the opinion, you can't hardly pick a wrong color for the sky anyways. So, you just go with what you want, what you like. Let's get a touch more yellow. Again, I'm just working off this same spot. I'm not trying to overthink it. This brush needs a little bit of water. Again, I just dip my corner in there. I don't want to overpower it. And as it dries off, there's less and less paint, less and less water, but it's still moving a little bit because the paint's still wet on the canvas for right now. So you can very subtly move it. And as it starts to, see how over here, there's barely any left. That's actually perfect because you're going to run that right on top of that orange color. And I think one of the biggest things people get scared about is blending colors. My suggestion, get cheap canvas. Heck, even the back of a cereal box is good for, you know, good for learning. But you're just going to paint this old Mr. Sky, whatever color you freaking feel like. Let's get a little bit more white. You know what? I forget to do this a lot. I often work with a very dirty brush. And I try to work with limited color palettes. This is actually one of my students. They left it behind with 6 million different paints still left in it. So I'm trying I'm trying to use it up before it dries out. I hate it when paint gets wasted. And it's fun to work with a limited palette as well. Oh, look at the sky. Wow, that looks even better on the screen than it does in real life. Fancy that. Alright, look at that. A little dark guy coming in there. Maybe these will inform us for some clouds later. Okay, so let me get some of that white, some more of that yellow. I'm going to start over here. Mix these together. I'm going to come back in here in the middle. And I'm going to blend my way back out. And some of these harder edges will start to soften up. A little touch of water, just a corner, not that much. You see that paint's really moving now. Let's throw some of that yellow over here. Now I'm hitting the canvas pretty hard with this brush, but you can definitely feather these colors to be super duper soft. You just gotta have a light pressure. You know, slightly damp brush, a little bit of pressure, not much. Okay, wow. That sunset's really coming along. A little bit of yellow, a little bit of white. Actually, let's do a lot of white. Alright, yeah, there we go. I'm gonna start from this middle. This is where my sun's gonna be. And blend it out. And all those fun little colors, even if they're not perfectly even all over the place, still make a fantastic sunset sky. This one, that orange, I'm gonna get a touch of red. I'm gonna come right into that yellowy color I just made a second ago. Let's finish this guy off over here. Do some pink. I'm gonna get a touch of water. It's starting to dry out some. Just a touch. I'm gonna put some of that over here too. It's good to have balance, and like I said, this side of the brush is gonna get, or this side of the paint is gonna get the brush dirty with the colors over here. And if you transfer it back onto the other side, get a touch of water again, loosen it up some. It's gonna bring all of this into a more of a harmonious situation. Yeah, so don't be afraid to blend also. Like I said, if you feel insecure, you just don't want to ruin a canvas, you don't know how to start, do it on something cheap. People act like you have to do it on a canvas. You don't. Anything works if you're learning. I was testing out different ways to do, what was it? Rocks. Different ways to paint rocks. And I didn't have my palette knife handy, which is a really convenient way to do that, paint rocks. But I just happened to see that I had a chunk of cardboard next to me, and I used that instead. And you know what? From what I found, you can do all sorts of different kind of rocks with anything relatively flat enough. Okay, so we got this beautiful sky coming in. Alright. Let's start putting some clouds in. Alright, so we're saying, I'm going to put a little white dot. Let's say the sun's right there. Brightest part in the sky. Here goes Mr. Sun. He's so far back there you can't hardly even see him. Okay, so we got all these fantastic colors here. I'm just going to get a little touch of blue. Just a touch. I don't even can hardly see it. Come on, camera. There we go. Just a touch. I'm going to add it in. This little pink color right here. You can see it's starting to shift. Feels a little bit more of a blue. Alright, where's our first cloud? There he goes. And you know, at this point, I've done all of this with the exact same brush. Because you don't honestly need to switch up brushes. It can be helpful. You can definitely do different things easier with different brushes, but all you got's one brush. All you need is the willpower to, you know, be a little bit patient and not rush things. Alright, so let's see. Put some of that yellow in there too. Just mixing up these nice kind of like blues and stuff. I'm in here with this cloud. I'm just going to touch that blue in there, and that's going to add a nice little shadow. A lot of painting is just layering and layering and layering and layering, because the more you like layer these clouds, for instance, the further back your painting's going to go. I'm going to put a little bit of black. Ooh, that's so strong. Touch of water on there just to loosen it up some. There's big old chunky guy comes up right in front. He's right there. And as it starts to run out of color on the brush, you'll see that it starts to pick up the colors underneath it a little bit, and it starts adding all sorts of interesting little highlights. So now we have that cloud in the back, we got this big old one coming up in front of it. Oops, I just straight up water. I didn't even load my brush up, I just put straight up water. And that little bit of water activated that paint, because we're already getting lighter and we're using a fresh wet brush. All those little light colors underneath are gonna make your cloud stand in front of this one. So you see that I'm playing darks and lights kind of against each other. Maybe there's some wispy clouds back there too. But a lot of this painting technique, and what a lot of painters do, especially to create, you know, illusions of depth and things like that, you need to make sure that you're having a layering of those darks and lights, and that'll really help out. Alright, well, we're starting to get there. That's looking pretty good. Alright, we're almost out of paint. This thing is running low. Let's see. Some of that bright orange, some of that yellow. Let's see if we can pull any more out of this. Maybe we'll have some right through here. As things get further back into the distance, they tend to take on the color of the sky. So here, I'm going to turn these into some distant trees. And if you watch my brush, you'll see that I'm kind of like rotating it around here and there. That's going to help get that varied brush pattern. A lot of people I've seen who try to do this, I can tell that they're not moving their brush very much, like rotating it around like that, because you can see the same strike over and over again. Not that it's a bad thing, it's just, this is a clever way of kind of masking that. Alright, so let's put some land in here. Let me get some of this brown. Let's see, put it right there. Yeah. So it's kind of a tannish brown. A lot of red and yellow in it, which is good. That's going to go perfectly with all this right here. All right, a little bit of yellow. Let's brighten that up some. All right, let's see. Need some water. That paint is awfully stiff. There we go. Beautiful. So what I'm doing here, I'm just putting down what I'm going to say. This is like kind of like your dirt grass color. We're just going to swoop it on in. I'm going to run it right up against that tree line that I just made in the back. Touch water, loosen that up. There we go. Now this is an oil paint, so you want to make sure that you kind of work quickly, because acrylic will dry out. And that's one of the good things and bad things about acrylic paintings is that it dries really fast, so you kind of have to be a little bit more decisive than you would be, let's say, like with oils, for instance. All right, so we have this nice sunny background. So the further back things are, the more atmosphere gets in the way, they tend to look washed out. So back here, I'm saying that's my sunset. This is the furthest part away. That's why it's not such a huge deal that, some of these things over here are so samey in color. So that's far away, it's real washed out. The closer you get to the foreground, that stuff in front of you, the darker and brighter things get. You're actually able to see it well. There's no atmosphere in the way, so you tend to have a lot better results. All right, so what's going to go in front? I'm going to use that same kind of color, a little bit of orange. Let's put a touch of yellow in there. And we want it to get dark. I'm going to use just a touch. You got to be careful with the color black, because color black can really overpower everything really fast. But I want to use a touch of that black. I got myself a touch of that blue as well. We got this nice rich color. All right, so what we can do, let's see, where's the next one go? Oh, look, there goes a group right here. A little bit of trees there. Maybe there's some more over here. I'm kind of naturally just starting to build a path. And that's another good thing if you're doing paintings. You kind of want to lead your viewer through the painting. If everything is super interesting on one side and there's nothing on the other, your viewer might not appreciate all the effort you did. So it's typically a good idea to add some variety. Alright, so I'm taking that bottom part of the tree, see how there's kind of lumpy down there, touch of water, and just like that we got a little bit of land going. Because my brush is filled up with all the other colors I've used back here, see when I did that swoop, all the old paint from that side on my brush got transferred with it, so now it's kind of developing its own highlights, which is pretty neat. All right, so we're working our way through. Let's see. I think we should get a little bravery going. Let's get some bigger trees up front. I'm gonna put some water on that brush. We're gonna mix this color. Pretty dark color. We're getting closer to the bottom now. Like I said, that's your foreground. And it's the closest, and if it's the closest, you want it to be the darkest and the brightest colors yet. A little bit of yellow, just adding some variety. We don't want it to be too pure black. I never use a pure black. Mix some browns and blues into it, purple if you got it, everything works. Where's this tree gonna go? Got so much over here. Let's put the tree over here. Nope, there he is. Too late now. No going back. Alright. A lot of ways you can do branches. If you thin out the paint some, they tend to flow easier, which can make this part of the process a lot easier. Another thing you can do, again, if you're doing the one brush wonder, get your brush a nice sharp edge. Well, look at that. You could practically cut someone with that edge. It's so sharp. And you can just kind of tap these other branches in. You don't have to have them super detailed. Don't overthink it. In fact, I'm of the opinion the rougher it tends to be, the more interesting it is. Alright, so we got that going. We're gonna give him a friend. If you couldn't tell what show I watched all the time as a kid, well, you gotta broaden your horizon some. Alright, so we're just putting these trees in. Nothing too spectacular. I watered that down just a little too much. but it's all right. We're gonna grab some more of that color over here. Just tap in some branches. Doesn't matter. All right, so we got all this good stuff going. Let's get these trees some leaves. This is one of my favorite parts. I actually love doing little tree leaves on trees. It's fun. All right, so we got all these great colors. I kind of want to stay in the same color family, but I am going to use some green. Let's see. Where's the camera? There it is. This is kind of a brighter green, so I'm going to come right over here at the edge and start laying that down. I'm going to try to pick up some of that brown and yellow that I got underneath in my palette, and you'll start to see that bright green. That no kidding, it looks so much different on camera. How about now? Yeah, it's starting to pick up some of that darker brown color from the trees. I'm just going to come in here, same thing I did with the clouds, just start tapping in these shapes. You want it, again, to be a little bit on the darker side. Pick that up, get a little bit more on there. You're just going to throw wherever you want. It's all good. A little bit more green, a touch of yellow too. Mix up a similar color again, come in here. Wherever you want it. I'm always of the opinion, people tend to not complain with the puffball on your tree. I call the leaves a puffball. I don't know why. People tend to like it when it's a little bit bigger than it is smaller. So I usually try to make the puffs on these things a reasonable size. I'm going to come over here, I'm going to do another one. Now, let's say this guy, we want him to be in front. I know it might not look like it down here, but out there doesn't count yet because we haven't gotten that far down the painting yet. Mix up some browns, get some of that green in there. We're going to make a nice dark green. Ooh, man, that's so dark. And that right there, watch this happen. Boom, all of a sudden, this tree is in front of that one. Ain't that neat? That's a big part of this process. I mean, honestly, for the most part, you could kind of just copy this whole strategy out, you know, for the rest down here, and call it done. You know? I'm going to push it a little bit further, but you certainly don't have to. Maybe, now watch this. Take that, I'm going to get some, maybe right back here, just behind these trees. Same kind of color. I'm going to put a little bit of some bushy boys down there. And one, it's going to hide where this tree comes up from. It's also going to add another plane of depth. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4 with the sky. And then from the sky we have 1, 2, 3, 4 layers of depth in the clouds. So you're really getting this nice balance going on. All right, easy, right out in front, easy peasy. So let's get this. I'm gonna get a little bit of this yellow. I'm just gonna tap it because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get these bristles at the end of the brush to start spacing out some. Get a little bit more of that yellow, just a touch of green. So I want to brighten this up. And we have all this yellow in the background, so we might as well use it again. And come in here. We're just going to start tapping in some highlights. You don't want to... a little bit more yellow. There we go. There we go. What did I say? Rotate that brush around. Try to get some variety of shapes going. You'll have a lot more believable looking trees if you do it that way. Ooh-wee. Here's a good thing. So I should have done this tree first because this tree is in front of that one. But you can play this back and forth as much as you want. So like you say you don't like it, oh, it's too bright or whatever. Get a little bit of that darker color you made earlier. Tap it back in. Don't matter. Look at that. Yeah, look at all that depth. Oh, this tree is just catching all that good light. Alright, so get my brushes all separated. I'm gonna touch this yellow. Let's get some of this orange in there. Tree number 2, we're gonna mix it up a little bit. Just a little bit. So the sun's that way, so we probably want this side of the tree and the top to be brighter. Knowing where your light is coming from is going to be really helpful. Tap, 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 tap. Just picking up some of that orange. Maybe I'll just do a new spot right here. It's all mixing together with those other colors, so we're all getting these really interesting bright patterns. So maybe the light comes through here, it's gonna hit through these trees and maybe brighten that edge up a little bit. And again, like I said, you want to push some of that tree into a, you know, a different level of depth. You can come in here with a darker color. You can just play this back and forth until you feel like you got it right. There's no, I'll put some dark in there. There's no set right and wrong necessarily how to do it. Just keep tapping them on in there until you get it the way you want it. And if you feel like you're overworked it and turned to mud, let it dry. Come back to it later. We'll go right on top. Alright, I think that's looked pretty good. Let's take some of that extra color. I want to put it down here. Really get in front of those trees. Alright, so let's say maybe back here. Add another section of trees. They're slightly further back, but not too far. This is something I like to do when I want a bunch of trees in the background, but I don't want to paint it all, you know, individually. Take some of that orange. Actually, that might make some great grass colors. Maybe as we're getting closer, we can start seeing that grass more. A little touch of water. Get this paint moving. Come on, paint. Let's go. You see, a little side to side. You notice I'm not doing like this. I'm not drawing every blade of grass. I am just trying to get the lay of the land. Gentle curves and all that. Alright, so we have these little bunch of things over there I'm calling trees. Get a little bit of dark color in there. Mix it with my greens from before. Come right up underneath. This is gonna layering them back one after another. Alright, so I'm thinking maybe we'll have some water right out front. I think that'd be nice. Now here's what you're going to do. Water, especially at like a sunset situation, it's reflective. So the colors you use up here, good idea to use your water too. Alright, I'm going to need some kind of new palette. I'm going to need some more space for this. Beautiful. Alright, so we'll do the same thing we did last time. Yellow. A touch of orange, a bunch of white, just a little touch of red. Alright, so let's say we got a little bit of water right down here. I actually didn't mean to have it go all the way that far back. Oh well. Maybe I can cheese it and make it work. Yeah, here we go. Now it's just a little bank right there. Alright. You know what? We're going to need reflections for that water. Now, normally, when I'm thinking this out in advance more, what I'd like to do is I'll draw that trunk further down, and that really helps. Helps the reflection look a lot more believable. Just mixing all those good colors in. We're at the bottom now. This is the closest to us. And I'm not trying to overthink. I'm just trying to layer that color in. We just want to mimic the sky more or less. Alright, it's getting there. Well, so I'm going to have to do some after the fact. Storytelling with this. Like I said, ideally, I would have done that all at the same time. Oh well. Watch this. Easy to fix though. Super duper easy. Got my brush all cleaned out. Got a nice little crispy edge on it. Put it in front of my forehead. There it is. Boy, it's pretty sharp. Alright. I'm going to grab that dark trunk color. Let's put it right here. Kind of the similar color we did for the tree trunk. A little black, a little brown, a little blue. Add some variety. Boy, I'm almost out of that brown paint. A lot of this is paint for my students, so I'm not surprised. All right, so we got this right here. Doesn't matter. There we go. We're just gonna kind of copy it. It doesn't have to be perfect. All right, let's get this green color going again. All right, get that green color. Watch this. Down here. We're gonna mimic it. And that's good because I had this little white spot down here I wanted to deal with anyways. I'm gonna throw those colors up in those bushes too. Add a little bit of depth to them as well. There you go, all the way out the page. And you see, I didn't do anything complicated. Heck, let's get the close up. So you see, all I did was just come in there, add some basic idea that just a basic idea that that's a reflection, and you can kind of see it's already translating. All right, so we're gonna need to have some waves and water, all that fun stuff. Do I have something? No, just wipe my brush on my couch. Why not? All right, so we're gonna need to get. Ooh, that's so sharp. Touch of white on the end of it. There it is. So just a touch. We're gonna come in through here, wherever you want the land to start, and this is gonna be water lapping up against the shore. I'm gonna do it back here too. All right. Oops, I went right on top of my bushes. Oh well, I can go back and fix that in just a second. But this little crispy edge of water is going to add a lot of believability to the viewer. Oh, these are reflections. So I'll be less concerned as I go through here because look at that. Just add some of those bright white spots in there. That paint is already dried out. Alright. Again, just trying to get that edge flat. You don't want it to be too thick. Just a nice flat edge. Side to side. You don't want this to go, any other way than side to side, because that's how your water is going to flow in this picture. You want to make sure that it's going the right direction. Consistency will help you a lot. If you can just learn to consistently have like your water or your land go in similar directions, you'll really help yourself and your viewers come across what you're trying to do. You're trying to get across what you're doing. Boy, I didn't say that great. Alright. So, I mean, honestly, at this point, if you wanted to, you could call it done. I accidentally painted a little bit over that bush right there. Let's see if I can just edit that out. Alright. Clean my brush clean. Let's see. Here, just a little tap. Just a little tap. Maybe. Because I picked up some of that white. I'm just going to come around the top of these bushes. Look at that. Oh, I'm so smart. And just add that little highlight in there. Maybe come down here a little bit too. Just add a little variety of that bush right there. Alright, so we got these trunks back here. Let's go deal with them next. I'm going all over the place, but oh well. That's how I do. Alright, got some brown. I just tapped some straight white into it. And we're going to follow that trunk. Add some... Ooh, my head's in the way. Add some nice little highlights. That light comes around the edge and just wraps around. Alright, let's see if I can... So yeah, you can see a little highlight starting to come through. Ooh, boy, look at that water. It looks so still. Now, the more waves you add, the faster you're implying that water goes. So if you're looking for like something really calm and tranquil, you want to go easy on the waves. Though, as a person who really likes drawing waves, I understand that it can be a challenge in and of itself. Alright, so we got a pretty good little painting going. How much time we got on? Ooh, 34 minutes. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. Alright, so I'm going to do something right down here. let's get a touch of this black. Let's get some of this good blue going. Nice deep dark color. I'm gonna touch that red too. Why not? It'll all have an interesting look. Just a dark color. And what I'm gonna do right down here. Oops, I didn't mean to jab it that far. All right, we'll just have to make it work. Now your painting setup might be different. You know, I have to work around these little screws that I made because my easel is homemade and I built it right into this table. Yours might be a little bit different. This might be a little bit different feel for you because I have to work around this thing. All right, so a little bit of land pops out right out in front. Boy, look at that, beautiful. Let's connect that right there. All right, so I want to say let's do 2 more trees. We won't call this one good. All right, let's see. Let's get some more of that brown. That brown is almost completely gone. Waste not, want not. All right, where is this one? Maybe we'll have some little trees. Now I usually do this repeating Y pattern kind of situation because you ever look at trees in nature, especially during winter. Most of them got something like that going on. I don't know a single tree out there that doesn't have some kind of stick pattern that looks at least roughly like this. And that's all you're really trying to do. Just get the rough idea of things. Maybe these are 2 little young saplings on the other side of this bank. Let's give him one more friend. This guy's a little crookedy old one. Maybe he had to grow a different direction to get out from all these bushes, and that just changed how this one decided to pop out. Alright, look at that. Oh, it's getting so dang pretty. Okay, I'm going to use the same color. Let's get some of that green on top of it. And you can start to see it's like shifting that way. Come in here. Let's spice up my brushes. Brush bristles a little bit. Let's come in here just a little bit. They're little tiny trees. They're probably not going to have a whole lot of leaves on them. They're just getting there, you know. Alright, there they go. This paint's almost running out. Oh dear. A little bit more green to spruce this up some. A touch of blue, darken that up some. A little touch of black. Nice deep dark green. Just not as many leaves. Maybe they're easier to see through because of that. Same with you down there, Mr. Wiggly Tree, who grew a little bit different than his buddies. I'm sure they like him all the same. Alright, so got all these dark spaces. This is I'm talking about how, remember, very beginning, light back here, dark down here. You're going to get the best results. You're probably going to have a lot better feel overall. So, darkest and brightest. I'm going to get some of this white. Just a big old blob of white. I'm going to put it in this little container right here. Yep. Let's get some orange in there. Nice bright orange. Let's just mix it with that white. Get a nice little tangerine color going. Pick out some spots down here. We're just going to add. Move out of the way, Mr. Water. I'm going to tap that out some. Space my bristles out some. I'm hard on my brushes. Alright, let's see. I'm going to come in here. I'm just going to add some highlights to these. Maybe this is one bush right here. Same thing. We're going to get a little bit of this red right here. I'm going to come right on top of that, you know. Get that brush nice and tapped out. Get some weird little shapes to it. Oh, look at that. We got little pink leaves popping out there too. Let's get some red and blue. We'll do some, let's see if we can get some purple flowers going. Mix it in with that white. There you go. Yeah, just mix it all together. One color on top of another, really. Alright, look at all that. Pretty as a picture. Okay. Same thing with them trees. Let's get some of that interesting color I had. There's more yellow to it. Now, yellow and purple are going to make it brown up a little bit. Put some of that fresh bright green in there too. Come here and put some little highlights in there. It don't matter. Oh yeah. Just touching the tops, you know, that light comes in. Maybe we'll get some yellow. I want to get some raw yellow. I'm going to test. Ooh, that's bright. I like that. Just adding some variety here and there. Just kind of decide where it feels good to you. And that's the biggest thing of all. Just making sure, put some highlights on these guys back here. Just make sure it feels good to you. Rotate that brush around a little bit. Keep some variety going. Look at that. Oh man. Oh man. That's looking great. Okay. Well, this is a point in the painting where I like to add, you know, that signature to it. So we'll call this one good for now. If I feel plucky enough, I might come back in and paint someone in. You know what? What time we have? 41? We got time. I'm going to take this little brush right here. Get this dark green carrot thing right here. And maybe you got like a little cowboy. Maybe he's fishing right here. This guy's back to the sun, so we can't really see him all that well. What are you up to, Mr. Cowboy? Same thing, he's standing near the water, so you might want to have just a slight indication of some reflections in that water. Alright, yeah, there we go. Let's see if I can get this brush nice and pointy. I'm going to roll it, just rolling it in, trying to get roughly, where's this one camera? Yeah, roughly a point to it. Let's see. A little fishing pole. Ooh, I'll tell you what, that got real blurry. I'll zoom in a second so you can see it. I might just touch that up a little bit. Alright, I'll show you one of the cheat code kind of things I was talking about. Yeah, this worked perfect. Envelope. I want this fishing pole in his hands to be a lot straighter. So, one of the things I want to do, since this is still relatively wet, oh no, the paint thing just landed on me. Oh well. Because it's still a little bit wet, I can blur this out still. Oh, look at that, it's gone. So, let's see. This is what we're working on right here. Mr. Cowboy right there. Okay, get a little envelope. Let's see, how long do we want it? Let's say this fishing pole's about that long. Just a touch of white. Yeah, yes. Don't know if that translates well on camera. Yeah, you can kind of see it. It's on there. If you can't see it, you're just gonna have to believe me. Oh, you know what? I didn't want white. Maybe I'll just put it down here. It'll be like some waves off in the distance as that water hits the shore. So I wanted that dark color. Silly me. ADHD be like that. Alright, get that nice dark color that I made earlier. I'm just getting the edge of that. Probably show it better now. Just the edge. I'm going to come up here. I'm grabbing a hold of my wrist. Keep it steady. There we go. Alright. And I'm going to use this brush to kind of clean up some more of that extra detail I don't need. Actually, let's redo it all together. It's a good thing about painting. You can edit this stuff as much as you want. And since I'm not going to do any edits or cuts or anything like that, you just get to see me make the mistakes and work around them. Alright. You know what? No sense making it hard on myself. Get my really pointy brush going. Put it against your hair loop. There you go. Let's get this good old. Is there just paint on that one still? I can't believe it's still active. Oh well. I'm just gonna blend it all in there anyways. Alright. I'm working a little point into my brush. Alright, Mr. Fishman. And once I get this guy squared away, kind of show you what he looks like. So I know he's probably a little bit further off. Let's get some of that dark color going. Little brown, little black. Let's say right here. Yeah, I want to do a little horse. Loosen that paint up some, just a touch of water. Alright, so this is a silhouette, so I'm not going to worry too much about the detail overall. Just want to get the idea that he's there with, you know, maybe he's hanging out in the background or whatever. Alright. I'm going to thin up his nose right there a little bit. Oops. Get myself a relatively clean brush. You see how I'm coming back and forth with that clean brush, and I'm just kind of like touching things up as I go along. Alright, we got a little tail. Here we go. Something for the saddle. Maybe the saddle's got a little bedroll on it too. Why not? Alright. You know what? That color is so nice. I'm gonna put that on Mr. Fisherman Cowboy over here too. Maybe that lighter color that I used earlier we'll just say that's his highlight. Okay, well, we're almost at the end of this one, I think. Yeah, this guy's far off, so we don't need to worry too much about detail and all that. And if you really struggle with painting people or whatever, it's a good idea, you know, throw them a little bit further back. They don't gotta be right up against you, you know, just get the feel of how a person should look, work from there. As long as you get close, you'll be fine. The closer you get, the more you learn about it. So even if it's just a basic shape, you'd be surprised how much you'd learn from little moments like that. Let's put some highlight on that horse, just a little bit, just to add some variety. Just adding some color in there. Alright, let's see if I some more. You know, just a little horse sitting back there. Nothing too complex. Boy, does the color ever look different with this camera. Fascinating. Alright. There we go. Alright. Actually, you know what? I think I might come in here. Touch that white, touch that brown. Let's see, maybe do little indications of like the saddles right here. Maybe a little stirrup. That's the thing, the foot goes in the stirrup. I don't know. I'm from Dallas. I don't really know a lot about country stuff outside the fact that I like it. Because it's a Texas thing. You know how to know about it, you just gotta feel it in your heart. So I'm gonna just add a little bit to that bedroll. You know, maybe I'll just do some light indications that the mane goes over this way. Little highlights, nothing too serious. I don't want too much detail. I might deliberately blur some of that other detail out, just so the viewer knows it's not that important. You know, this horse is still pretty far away. We shouldn't be seeing that many details. Alright, I still don't think that fishing pole's showing up on it. I'm going to get some straight up black. Roll it into a point. Alright, let's see if I can get it. Haha. Alright. Oops. I threw a whole bunch of color right next to that thing that I did not want to do. We'll just say that that's part of the tree right there. And we got this little bald spot in the canvas, so I'm going to take some of that black color and just try to add it up there a little bit. Just to, you know what, I'm just taking more and more paint off that spot, you goofball. There you go. Perfect. Alright, so we're just about at the end of this one. Just some low lights, dark. I just keep going back in. You can honestly, you know, if you're anything like me, just go back and forth on these paintings forever. And it just can really dominate your time. But sometimes you gotta say, enough is enough. And I think I'm just about there. I don't really like how this leg on the horse turned out. So, every time you get something you don't like, we got all the tools in front of us we need to make it go away. So, just get some bright green, mix myself up. It's pretty up close, right? So, it's up more up close on that horse. Get some of that bright yellow in there. Alright, let's see. We're just going to make that bush right there a little bit taller. How about that? It's gone. Let's get some of that orange in there. I think that orange would look really pretty. So all I'm doing now is just coming in here and putting some nice little highlight details. Maybe there's a little bit of red through here. A lot of bit of red. Oh my gosh. Just little tappy taps. Trying to rotate the brush over as I go. Yeah, that's just a big old flowery bush. I'm gonna get some of this green that I had earlier. I'm just gonna push it back just a little bit. Remember, pushing those dark colors back adds layers of depth to your artwork. We're almost there. Pretty stuff. But yeah, you can go back and forth, and you know, you might find later that you had a new idea that's even better than the one you did before, so you might have to come back in and change it a little bit. That's all good stuff, and that's what's fun about painting, is that you don't have to settle on anything if you don't want to. Alright, now, ooh wait, that water I'm using is getting dirty. Alright, I'm gonna sharpen up that edge on the water real quick. Just a touch. Alright. Some of that dark color again. Let's say I'm gonna play this back and forth until I just can't hardly stand it, huh? There we go. Add some more of those little highlights in the water. I think they're fun. Push some of those details back. Yeah, some nice. There we go. Here's that white. Nice dark highlights on some of them too. Maybe the shadows catching that one a little bit. Well, that's about it. So hopefully you found something useful that you like, and you know, maybe you can use some of this stuff in the future. So hopefully I am going to try to do this somewhat often. So if you like the content, maybe I'll see or hear from you again. And I'm just adding some dark areas here and there in the water so it's not all the same color. A little bit of variety here and there. Okay, let's put a name on it, call it good. Like I said, I don't know. Maybe I'll come back and touch this up later. Maybe I won't. I've got all sorts of unfinished paintings sitting around. Okay, let's see. It's really dark right there. I'm gonna grab some of this bright old yellow. L, W, 2, 3. Alright, so let's take a look. Here it is. Pretty little western sunset. We got a little cowboy. He's chilling down there, fishing with his horse. All sorts of little pretty flowers and things going on there. Nice strong trees at the bank of a pretty little water feature. That's about it. Thank you for your time. Hope that you enjoyed the content. You know, send me a line if you want me to paint something specific. I can definitely give it a shot. All right. Well, my name's Luke. Thanks.